Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is costing out a recipe. Why is it important to cost out a recipe? So we know how much we're paying for the whole recipe as far as cost, and we know what to sell it for. Remember, our triangle gives us our cost, our percentage, and our sales. So oftentimes we have a goal or a target food cost percentage. If we cost out the recipe, we know what it actually costs us, then we can apply that food cost percentage and be able to identify what we should be selling that item for, okay? So today we're going to do a recipe of mine. This cheesecake recipe, it's not exactly like my recipe. I can't give all my secrets away. And actually I did a lot of it to simplify the costing out process. But essentially what we're going to do is I took this recipe and I created a fundraiser for it. I used it to raise money to go to sing at Carnegie Hall back in 2008. And I sold enough cheesecake and paid for my entire trip, plus spending money. At the time, it was my weight in cream cheese. I used 185 pounds of cream cheese, over 700 eggs, and I can't tell you how many cheesecakes I made out of my parents' oven. But my mom always asked me, well, how do you know what are you selling your cheesecake for? Well, I sell them for $20 because I feel like that's what people would pay for a cheesecake. She's like, well, how much money are you making? I don't know, I'm making money, so what does it matter? And so then I went a few years later, in 2015, I was running for Riverwalk Royalty, and I thought I'm going to sell my cheesecakes. And so my mom had bought me a mini cheesecake pan. And I was just like, mini cheesecakes, like that's, And I tried it one time, I'm like, those are too cute, I have to keep doing them. And so I did that, but then I was like, my mom's like, well, how much are you selling them for? Well, I think I'm going to sell them for $12 a dozen or $15 a dozen if there's like specialty fillings. She's like, well, how much money are you going to make? I don't know. I'm just going to do it because I don't feel like people are going to, pay more than $12 a dozen. And so, it got to the point where, that was 2015. That was, 8 years later. And then finally, just earlier this year, I finally cost out my cheesecake recipe, 2009. So 11 years later, or whatever, 12 years later, I finally cost out my cheesecake recipe, and I realized I wasn't doing so bad. So that's what we're going to do today, is this cheesecake recipe. So the steps to cost out a recipe, you all have this page. Remember, we numbered them 1 through 7, right? Okay, so number 1, what is step number 1? Copy the recipe as given. So on this page, I have done that for you on the front. Okay, I have copied it as written. We're going to kind of expedite this process. So I want you to write a number 1 right next to the recipe right here in the front. This is the recipe as written. This is for one recipe. Okay, this is for one recipe. What is step number 2? We're going to fill in the ingredients. So you flip over to the back side. Number 2 is this column that says ingredients. So write a number 2 up there. You can see that the ingredients are in the exact same order. I've even listed sugar twice. I have sugar in the crust and I have sugar in the filling. So list it twice. Don't try to combine it and do one mathematical formula. You want to do it individually, exactly as your recipe is written. Okay, that way you don't miss anything. Fill in the as purchase costs and unit is number 3. So that purchase cost and purchase unit, those 2 columns, that's number 3. Go ahead and put a 3 in a circle around there. Okay, I want you to stop for a moment. I want you to look at your neighbor's paper and see if they have a 1, a 2, and a 3 written on their paper. Show your paper, show your work.
Purchase cost, right?
Yep, purchase cost. Purchase cost, purchase unit is number 3. If they don't, raise their hand, call them out. All right, no hands, we're moving on. Step number 4 is?
Break down the as purchase price and the cost of the recipe.
Okay, so break down the as purchase price. So our as purchase cost, now we're going to our recipe units. And so that's what we need to do. We're going down to 1 recipe unit. That's where it says number 4, cost per 1 recipe unit. Number 4. okay? Step number 5 is multiply the cost per unit by the amount needed. That is why we have to break it down to one recipe unit, so it can be a simple mathematical multiplication. This times this equals this, okay? And then step number 7 is we're going to add up all the totals. So number 6 is right here where it says amount needed and the ingredient cost. Sorry, actually number 6 is the ingredient cost. Number 7 is down here at the bottom where it says subtotal, and we'll get to the rest of those in just a moment. So at the very bottom, number 7, add up all the totals, right? Oh, there's only 6, just kidding. There's only 6. Gosh, it's Monday morning. Number 5 is the column over here. It says ingredient cost. Number 6 is the bottom. Sorry, I apologize.
So we know what amount needed.
We'll get to amount needed in just a moment. Yeah, but we'll get to amount needed. Don't worry, we'll get to the amount needed. Don't. It's not on this step, but it is needed. Okay. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. I'm sorry for the
I
confusion.
still think this is number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Add up all the totals. Is number 6.
This is number 6,
That's number 5.
and this is.
We're not. There's not a step for that yet.
Amount needed.
Oh.
There's not a step for that yet. Okay. Not for this. Not for this example. Sorry about that. All right. That's why you should work in pencil, not pen. So you can erase. All right. So let's get started. Okay. So I've done steps 1, steps 2, and steps 3 already for you. So now we're going to work on step 4. We're going to do this for each ingredient. Okay. So what's the first ingredient? Cream cheese. I'm so sorry. This is going to be a lot worse than if I had my pen. Okay. So cream cheese. Go ahead and do your as purchased unit and your recipe unit and do your arrow. So let's start with that. AP unit and draw your arrow to your recipe unit. All right, from here, what is our as purchased unit? Okay, so our as purchased unit is 8 ounces. And what is our amount? What is our recipe unit?
24.
Our recipe unit is 24 ounces. Okay, so again, we write 24 ounces. Do our units match? They do. This is perfect. Okay, so now how do we go to the cost of 1 ounce? We take our purchase cost of what? 146 divided by 8 ounces. Why 8 ounces?
Purchase unit.
That's our purchase unit. That's how much we get, right? So often when we talk about dividing by ounces, a lot of people just default to divide by 16 ounces because they think we're going from pounds to ounces or whatever, okay? In this case, we're going dollars. We're going for cost per unit. So if it helps you to write that little saying right there, cost per unit, and then add your division line, this is our cost per unit. So $1.46 divided by 8 ounces is what? 18 cents. Okay. So that equals 18 cents per ounce. So we write that cost per 1 unit is 18 cents. Okay. How much do we need?
24 ounces.
We need 24 ounces. Okay. It's 24 ounces. So now we can simply do multiply 18 cents times 24, and that gives me 38 cents. Now, some of you might be looking at this and be like, wait a minute, 24 ounces is 3 bricks of cream cheese. So I can simply just do 146 times 3. That's okay. If you want to. If you want to take this 8 ounces and make it one package, because we know that 8 ounces comes, 1 brick of cream cheese is 8 ounces. you could make that into one package, and you need 3 packages, and then your units would be the same. Okay? 432? Sorry.
But if we did it this way, it would be a lot easier for us to add if there's like additional ounces, right? Like if it was an off number.
If it was an off number, absolutely. Let's say I needed, 33 ounces of cream cheese. Well then, yeah, if you break it down by the ounce, then it's a lot easier to do that. Yep. Exactly. Yep. Questions about that one? So 432, everyone look at your neighbor's paper. Does it say 432 in that ingredient cost? 432, 438.
Is it 18 cents times 24, 432?
If there's some kind of decimals and you don't clear your calculator out, then it's going to be, you're probably going to get that larger number. And so that's okay.
Because we don't ever want to round. We want to just drop those.
Correct. You're round to the nearest cent.
18.25.
18.25? Okay, so you would round it.
Sorry, 0.1825.
Okay, so you would round it to, 8.1825 would technically be 18 cents. You could round it up to 19 if you wanted to account for that extra change, but 18 cents would be the same. Okay. So the next ingredient is what? Large eggs. Okay. So our large eggs, we need to go down to the cost of 1 unit. And so we have our AP to recipe. What is our AP? Okay, so it's 3 dozen eggs. And what is our recipe unit? How many units do we need? 4 eggs. Do our units match? They do not. Okay? So, one way we can do this, just like our math problem we had at the beginning of class, we can do 3 dozen times 12 eggs gives me 36 eggs total. And then we do remember our cost per unit. So what is our cost for our 3 dozen eggs? $2.88 divided by our 36 eggs gives me how much per egg? 8 cents per egg. And now I need 4. So my 8 cents should be the cost for 1 recipe unit. My amount needed is 4 eggs. So my recipe cost for eggs is 32 cents.
Are you putting your ingredient cost of 5? So you're sliding.
The ingredient cost is, you mean the total ingredient cost? Which number? The 8 cents or the 32 cents?
Where am I putting the 8 cents?
The 8 cents is in cost per 1 recipe unit.
Or number 4?
Number 4, yes. And then number 5 is the ingredient cost, 32 cents. That one's pretty straightforward.
On the cream cheese, it was cost per unit was
18 cents. And we need 24 ounces. Okay, so let's do sugar. Next one, sugar. What is our AP for sugar? 4 pounds. And what is our unit, recipe unit? Okay, so our recipe unit is 7.1 ounces. Why did I say 7.1 ounces for sugar? Okay, a cup of sugar is not 8 ounces of sugar. Okay, it's heavier than that. And so when you're dealing with weight versus volume, you have to make sure that you're making that conversion. Okay, so in this case, we can't just say 1 cup of sugar is 8 ounces. We have to know what that general weight of, okay? Now this is just general granulated sugar. Other sugars, like castor sugar or powdered sugar or brown sugar, they're all gonna have different weights, okay? And so in this case, I wanna go with, I'm going from pounds to ounces. I can't go from pounds to cups, because pounds is weight, cup is volume. And so understanding that 1 cup of sugar weighs 7.1 ounces is really important to get your calculations correct, okay? So, what is my total cost for my pounds? $2.18 for 4 pounds. So, we want to divide that by 4 pounds. 218 divided by 4. Okay, we're going to go step by step on this one. That gives me 0.545, so 54.5 cents. In this case, we could round it up to 55, or you can just keep it at 54.5. Okay? Whatever way you do, just keep it consistent. So you either clear out your calculator and round it up to 55, or just keep the number the same. I'm going to go ahead and keep it the same. Okay? So 54.5 cents essentially is what we're talking about per pound. We divide that by, why 16 ounces in this case? We're trying to get to this ounces right over here, okay? So that divided by 16 gives me essentially 3 cents per ounce, okay? 3.4 cents. You could round it up to 4 if you wanted to. That's completely up to you. Okay. Now, if you're just a restaurant that serves cheesecake occasionally, then it's okay to keep it at 3 cents. That's a penny, right? That's almost half a penny, 3.5 cents. If you're the Cheesecake Factory and what you're specializing in is in cheesecake, you might want to go ahead and round it up to 4 cents, just because you're going to be selling so many of them. Right? If it's something that you're going to sell on a very rare basis versus something you're going to sell on an everyday basis on high volume, that little half a cent is going to add up. Okay? So in this case, let's stick with 3 cents per ounce. And how many ounces do we need? 7.1 ounces. So that gives me 21 cents for my sugar. Okay? So my ingredient cost for sugar is 21 cents. We good so far on that one? What's really cool about this recipe is my sugar is not this. Yeah, is the same for both. So you see where sugar is a little bit further down? You can just copy your answers down over to there, because the sugar in the crust and the sugar in the recipe is the same. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns about sugar? Let's move on. What's the next one? Vanilla. Okay? So for vanilla, we have 1 teaspoon, and we're going to $4.98 per ounce. And so we have as purchased unit to our recipe unit. Recipe unit. What's our AP unit? 1 ounce. What is our recipe unit? 0.17 of an ounce. Okay? So are our units the same? Yeah, they are. So in this case, what do we do?
Just to divide it. And
We can multiply. Okay? So we multiply $4.18 $4.98 times 0.17. Okay, 0.17. This 0.17 is like 17% of an ounce. So if my bottle is already 1 ounce, then that's 0.17 of that bottle, 17% of that bottle. Okay, so $4.98 times 0.7 equals 71 cents. Do we all agree with that? 84 cents.
No. Well, 85, 84.66.
84.66, so 85 cents. Okay, 85 cents. So in this case, the cost per recipe unit, you can go ahead and keep it at the $4.98 per 1 ounce. The units are the same. And then we only need 0.17 ounce, so we can multiply 498 times 0.17. So that step is still the same, multiply because the units are the same. It's just we're using less of an ounce. Okay. Graham crackers. Okay. What is our as purchased unit? 3 packages. And what is our recipe unit? 1.5 packages. Okay, are our units the same? They are. So we want to get down to the cost of 1 recipe unit. And so how do we do that? $2.18 divided by 3. Why 3? Because there's 3 packages in 1 box. $2.18 is 3 packages. I could have made it real difficult and said $3.18 or $2.18 is 1 box. And then you have to know that there's 3 packages in a box of graham crackers. So I try to break it down and make it a little easier for you. So we started out with 3 packages. Okay? 3 packages, 218 divided by 3 gives me what? Okay, so 73 cents per package. And now we multiply that by 1.5 that we need. Equals $1.10. Okay, critical thinking. You might have noticed that 1.5 is half of 3 packages. So if that's the case, you could take $2.18 divided by 2, and it would give you $1.09. Okay, so you'll see the pen it's just off by a penny. But you could do that if you can see that and you can show your work, that's fine. Okay? But if this does not come naturally, this one of the blue, that does not come naturally to you, keep going with what's in the grain. That's going to give you that step-by-step practice. Okay? And let's do the last one, margarine. Margarine is 97 cents. Per pound, and we're going to 5 tablespoons. Oops, that's a big T. Okay, 5 tablespoons. Yes, ma'am.
If we can convert it into ounces to make it easier, can we do that?
Yes, you can. You mean the 5 tablespoons into ounces? You can do that. The other thing is, on the margarine, 1 stick of margarine is 8 tablespoons, right? And so you can even do it that way as well, okay? So that's the way we're gonna do it. So in 1 pound in one box, we have how many tablespoons? So there's 4 sticks, so that means there's 32 tablespoons, right? So we do 97 cents divided by 32 tablespoons. Gives me 3 cents per tablespoon. And now I can multiply that by the 5 that I need. $0.15. So now we can add up everything. So what was our total, just going down the list, what was our cream cheese? Say it real loud.
$4.32.
Thank you, $4.32. What was the next one? Eggs.
32 cents.
And then the next one, sugar.
21 cents.
21 cents. And then the next one, vanilla. 85 cents. Okay, and then our graham crackers. Our sugar again is the same. And then our margarine was 15 cents. So now we can add up all of these together to get our total recipe cost. Okay, check your answer with your neighbor to make sure you get the same thing.
$7.60
Because I didn't round the or 0.8.
And then the graham crackers that you round up to 10 cents.
Yeah. Are you somewhere around $7.16? Who has something different? 7.15? 14, 15, okay, off by a couple pennies. 7.27?
Yeah, I did a fraction of cents on all of them.
Okay, so you rounded up on everything. Okay.
We're not losing any money over here.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so this is the cost for one cheesecake. Does not include our labor cost. Okay, this is just the ingredient cost, our food cost. Now, if I'm serving 8 slices out of this cheesecake, what is my cost per serving?
89 cents.
Okay, so $7.16 if I'm serving 8 people out of it. Okay, it gives me 90 cents. So do you no that is our portion cost. That's our portion cost. For this example, we do not have a Q factor. We'll get into that at a later time. For this example, we do not have a Q factor. It'd be 0. So our portion cost is 90 cents. Do you see why we want to give away dessert if we want to make somebody happy? Okay. If we have a guest error, we have a service error, we want to make somebody happy, we give them a dessert instead of a $20 steak. Okay, we'll comp that dessert for them. It's 90 cents. Now this is just the cheesecake. It doesn't count the strawberry sauce or the whipped cream or whatever else you want to put on there. Hot fudge. Yeah. Okay, this is a basic cheesecake. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about this? So I'm going to save this video. I'm going to put it on Canvas as costing out a recipe. So you can go back once you are working on your project and you can watch this video over and over and over again and follow the steps, okay?